In Seoul, early 2000, the city never sleeps. Neon signs, busy streets, people rushing home. But somewhere in that crowded metropolis, a predator was moving in silence. His name was Yoo Young-chul. On the surface, he looked ordinary, a quiet man in his 30s. He could be the neighbor you pass by every morning without noticing. But behind closed door, Yoo had already begun planning one of the most horrifying killing sprees in South Korean history. Yoo's hatred was twisted. He said he despised the rich, claiming that wealth had corrupted society. And so, he decided to punish them. His first targets were wealthy elderly couples. Yoo would stalk their mansions, waiting for the perfect night. When the lights went out and the city was asleep, he broke in through windows or doors, carrying nothing but a small hammer. Inside, the homes were silent, until Yoo struck. With terrifying speed, he smashed victims in their sleep. Husbands, wives, beaten to death in their own beds. Some awoke just long enough to see their killing standing over them. By morning, the elegant homes had turned into crime scenes drenched in blood. You stole money and jewelry, but this wasn't about robbery. It was about power, about watching life drain from those he envied and hated. But his hunger didn't stop there. After a series of brutal break-ins, Yoo's focus shifted. This time, he targeted women. He began calling massage parlors?
Parlor.
Luring women to his apartment. They walked in expecting a client. Instead, they stepped into a nightmare. Behind the locked door, Yoo struck them with his hammer. He killed quickly, but what came after was worse. Yoo dismembered their bodies, coldly cutting them apart with precision. He stuffed pieces into garbage bags, scattering them in mountain trails and riversides. Sometimes he buried them, other times he simply left them in hidden places where no one would look. The police were overwhelmed. Different bodies, different neighborhoods, no clear pattern. But Yoo wasn't done taunting them. At one point, he called law enforcement himself, mocking their inability to catch him. He said things like, "You'll never find them all." In 2004, after weeks of investigation, Yoo was finally caught. But if the public thought his arrest would bring closure, they were wrong. In custody, Yoo confessed without shame. He said calmly, describing how he had murdered 21 people, elderly couples, women, even random individuals he thought deserved to die. He admitted that sometimes he chose victims simply because he didn't like the way they looked. The most chilling part? Yoo didn't regret a thing. He told police, "Society is rotten. I was cleaning it up." In court, he laughed. He insulted victims' families. He even promised, "If I'm released, I'll kill again, 100 more." South Korea has never been anything like that. South Korea had never seen anything like that. The nation was terrified. Parents warned their children not to go out at night. Women feared taxis, motels, apartments, anywhere they might be lured into danger. Yoo had turned Seoul into a city of fear. In December 2004, he was sentenced to death. But South Korea had not carried out an execution since 1997, which means Yoo Young-chul still sits alive today, in a prison cell, breathing, waiting, smiling. And that's the scariest part. Ghost stories may keep you up at night, but your story is real. Sometimes the monster doesn't disappear when the lights come on. Sometimes the monster is still here.